everyone, and welcome back to Michelle Reads and Vlogs with me, Michelle, and today we are looking at my October TBR. This is definitely not going to be more of an MBR though, and maybe to be read, because I've got a few books here. So I've got 12 books that's on my TBR for October. Take into account that my September wrap up, I think I had 9, which was good for me. So I don't think I'm going to get to them all, but I'm going to try. And I'm definitely going to have these selections so that I can pick from them. And if I don't get to them, I'll try not to be too hard on myself by the end of the month. So first of all, we have got 2 books that I am bringing over from September. So the first is a physical read. This is A Study in Drowning by Reid. I am really enjoying this so far. So the plot, the synopsis has told us that we are following Effie. She's a young architecture student. She's won this competition to go to this house to redesign it, and it is the home of her late favourite author. So he passed away about 6 months ago. He wrote all the childhood books that she grew up with loving. She won this competition and she's like, great, I get to go and be a part of this man's, legacy in this house. But when she gets there, there's another student there who is a literature student, and it turns out he is trying to uncover the fact that this author might have been a fraud. And he does kind of spur her into his cause. They decide to work together. And what I would say is, from the synopsis, what's not covered here is actually how creepy this is. So a few things happen that are a little bit creepy and scary, and I don't like a lot of horror, but this is YA and I feel like it's within my limit. I'm really enjoying this book, so we'll definitely be finishing this one within the next few days. The second book on my October TBR is another one that I'm bringing over from September, and that is the current audiobook I'm listening to, which is the 3rd book in the Red Rising series, Morning Star by Pierce Brown. Yeah, I get that right. I always want to say Pierce Brosnan, Pierce Brown. And overall, this story, as the trilogy, is about this man called Darrow. He is a red in a colour caste system. Reds are at the very bottom, golds are at the very top. This is set thousands of years in the future, where basically humans have evolved to have different traits and characteristics, and then you're within that colour caste system with your kind of types of evolutions. So reds are at the bottom. They are basically being kept in slavery, and Darrow is spurred on to become a part of the rebellion to basically free the slaved people and say people are people. It shouldn't matter what colour you are, to where you sit in this kind of hierarchy. And we're in book 3 now, and I love it. So I am listening to these on audio. I completely recommend them on audio. At first I was like, what is this? It's a bit nuts. But the story is so clever, the twists and turns, the drama. I am hooked. Like, whatever you go into thinking in a certain even like chapter, you think, okay, they're going to do this. So many times it's just completely thrown on its head, and yeah, it's just kept me hooked. So I am on book 3. I'm probably a good quarter, if not a third of the way through it now, and I will definitely be finishing that again within probably a week. Book 3 on my October TBR should come as no surprise to anybody, The Fragile Threads of Power by Schwab, which was released last week. I was really hoping that I would have read this at the end of September. It would have been done. It would have been in my September wrap up, but none of my pre-orders got here on time. This is actually an additional order. It's not a special edition, because I wanted to read it so bad and I didn't want to read it on ebook. That was the other option. So I ordered it in. So this is definitely going to be my priority read for this month. And this, if you don't know, is about characters called Antari who can travel between worlds. In this book we have 4 worlds, and in each world there is a London which is in the same place in each world. So we've got Black London, White London, Red London and Grey London, and they all have different amounts and different types of magic. Black having so much magic it basically burnt itself out and destroyed itself. White London is full of greedy people and is probably going to go in a similar way to Black London. It's on that kind of track. Red London has lots of magic and is very healthy with it. And then Grey London is basically our London, which has no, if very little magic. This book is not really a sequel to the first trilogy. Like Schwab has said, you should be able to read this as it's going to be a new set of 3, so a new trilogy. You should be able to read this as a sequel or a prequel to the beginning 3. We've got some of the same characters, but there are some new characters as well, and it's a completely new kind of story arc. So I am really looking forward to getting this read, and I am going to be doing a reading vlog for it as well. Okay, the next books on my October TBR, there's going to be no order or reason to any of these. They're just the order that I've got them in the stack. You can see that just like the paperbacks are at the top. So the first one is The Woman in Black by Susan Hill. This is a very short book, so I am going to pretty much put a short book on my TBR every month, just so that if I do get into a bit of a reading slump, I find short books are a good way to get out of it, because you can read them quite quickly, you tick a book off, and it makes you feel like that accomplishment. Some people might not agree with that, but personally it works for me, and then it spurs me on to want to read more. So it's 160 pages long. I don't really know much about this book. I think it's just the vibes. All of this is going to be vibes for October. So they're all kind of either slightly spooky or thrillers, you know, very kind of autumnal Halloween type vibes. I'm going to go into this pretty blind and see what I think. The next book I am going to read in October is a thriller. So this is Dead Woman Walking by Sharon Bolton. Again, I'm pretty much going into this blind at the moment. I have no idea what it's about. I just know that I like Sharon Bolton's writing. She wrote The Pact, which is a thriller. So she's not really on kind of BookTube or Bookstagram much, but I really enjoy her writing. So I don't know if that's just me or if it is good writing and she's just not really been very discovered yet. We will find out. So this is about an accident that happens on a hot air balloon flight. So there's 13 passengers and they witness a brutal murder. Within the next hour, all but one of them will be dead. Alone, scared and trusting no one, she flees for her life, running to the one place she feels safe, but she's seen the killer's face and he's seen hers, and he won't rest until he's eliminated the last witness to his crime. So all the feels for October for a bit of an on-edge read. Next up we have In My Dreams I Hold a Knife by Ashley Winstead. Again, I'm not really 100% sure on what this is about. I just know that it's kind of the opposite of Dead Woman Walking. So many people have read this and so many people like Ashley Winstead that I was like, I want to give this a go. I think I picked it up quite cheap in the works or something. 6 friends, 1 college reunion, 1 unsolved murder. So again, I'm going for that kind of October, slightly on edge spooky vibes. So next we are getting, I would say back into fantasy, but I'm not sure if this really is a fantasy. All I know is that it is based on witches and witchcraft, and I'm really looking forward to getting into this one. I've had this book for a while, so I should have said it's Wayward by Emilia Hart. I love the UK cover. The US cover's good as well, but this is just, to me, stunning, and it is the spread version as well. I think this is maybe from Waterstones. So this is about 3 different women based at different times. We've got Kate in 2019, Violet in 1942, Altha in 1619. Kate flees London, abandoning everything for Cumbria and Wayward Cottage, inherited from her great aunt. There's a secret lurks in the bones of the house, hidden ever since the witch hunts of the 17th century. Violet in 1942 is more interested in collecting insects and climbing trees than becoming a proper young lady, until a chain of shocking events changes her life forever. And Altha in 1619 is on trial for witchcraft, accused of killing a local man known for her uncanny connection with nature and animals. She is a threat that must be eliminated. But wayward women belong to the wild and they cannot be tamed. That just sounds so good. How have I had this on my TBR for so long, my physical TBR, and not read it? I have no idea. Just too many books, too little time. But definitely the vibes we're going for in October. We then have a more kind of, I would say a more recent release, but I think these were already published and then they've been republished, or maybe that's Olivia Blake's other work, I'm not sure, but this is Masters of Death. This is quite popular at the moment, so it is pretty much everywhere. But this is about what do they call people who sell houses? This is about an estate agent who is also a vampire, and she is trying to sell this house, but there's something wrong with it. Isn't there like a ghost? Yeah, the ghost haunting the mansion has been murdered, and until he can solve the mystery, he refuses to move on. So the estate agent gets in someone who is a medium to come and talk to the ghost and they can try and figure this out. But what they find is that I think the medium is a fraud. Yeah, he isn't entirely without his uses. However, he's also the godson of death. So other spooky things start to happen within this house, and I'm very much looking forward to getting into this one. Next up, we have Silver Nitrate by Silvia Moreno-Garcia, and this was a part of my Evernight subscription from Illumicrate. So these are going to come every 3 months, and it's a more horror-based subscription rather than a fantasy like the normal Illumicrate subscription is. And I've saved this. Like, I purposely was like, I'm going to leave this until October for the vibes for Spooky Month. And this is about 2 people who are brought in to help this old kind of editor finish a film that was never finished. And whilst they are helping this editor to finish their film, editor, producer, I don't know, someone who's finishing a film, spooky things start to happen. I've seen some reviews for this from other YouTubers, and they're not really 100% positive, but I definitely want to go in and give it a good go myself and see what I think. I like the sound of it. I'm not just going to listen to other people's opinions, but I am going to keep them in mind as I read this one. The next Evernight should be coming this month as well, so we'll see what that is. We'll see if we want to add that to our TBR. At the moment, I have completely forgotten, so I've got no idea. But as we said, this month we're going for vibes, spooky vibes. I love that I'm doing this in a yellow jumper as well. This is like the least autumnal spooky colour. This is so like spring. I don't really do a lot of autumnal kind of vibes in my house. I'm very much I love spring, I love summer, I love bright colours kind of person. The next book was one of the books in the Locked Library subscription. This is All the Dead Lie Down by Kyrie McCauley. I have no idea what this is really about. I'm sure I did at the time. It's been out for a few months now, but it's the vibes. I mean, even look at the cover. If this is not spooky season vibes, I don't know what is. I'm just going to go into it blind and see what it is about. We then have another book that I've owned for months. This is a very common theme here, and that is Death of a Bookseller. So we're moving back away from kind of fantasy and horror, back more into thriller vibes here. So Death of a Bookseller by Alice Slater. And in this, we have a female bookseller, and another bookseller comes along and starts selling books. I don't really know what else to say there. So Roach, a bookseller, loner and true crime fanatic, has no interest in making friends. She had all the company she needs in her serial killer books, murder podcasts, and her pet snail Bleep. I did get this from an independent bookshop as well, and it did come with a little pin, and I don't really know what to do with the pin. I just carry it around with the book. So yeah, she's got a pet snail Bleep. That is until Laura joins the bookshop with her cute literary tote bags and sunny smile. She's everyone's favourite bookseller, but beneath the shiny veneer, Roach senses a darkness within Laura, the same darkness Roach possesses. And as curiosity blooms into morbid obsession, Roach becomes determined to be part of Laura's story, whether Laura wants her or not. Wow. And then I just want to show you these end pages. Like, this is definitely, again, October vibes. I should have pointed out as well, October's my birthday month. It's my birthday this month. Hey. So at the end of the month, we'll see what I get up to for my birthday and see if that affects my reading at all. As I said, it is the end of the month, so I've got like a good 3.5 weeks until then. Okay, the last book on my list is the next in my, these are books I physically own want to read so that I can unhaul. Such a random thing to do, and that is Cecelia Ahern, A Place Called Here. So Cecelia Ahern, she tends to she tends to write quite random books where it's kind of bordering into fantasy, but they're not kind of full-on fantasy books. I think if she started writing now, she probably would be classified as a fantasy author. But as we said, the fantasies are so minimal, and she's been out for so long now, kind of just in the general fiction genre and more in romance. And yeah, she's a very strange author to place. So I've owned this for a while. It is a good few years old as well. Oh, it's a first edition, I think. Yeah, it came out in 2006. This book is almost 14 years old, which is nuts. Like, I didn't even know it was that old at all. So how can I describe this place? It's an in-between place. It's like a grand hallway that leads you to nowhere. It's like a banquet dinner of leftovers, a sports team made up of the people never picked, a mother without her child. It's a body without its heart. It's almost there, but not quite. It's filled to the brim with personal items, yet it's empty because the people who own them aren't here to love them. That's only the first bit of the blurb. Since Sandy's childhood classmate disappeared 20 years ago, Sandy has been obsessed with missing things. Finding becomes her goal, whether it's the sock that vanished in the washing, the car keys she misplaced, or the graver issue of finding the people who vanished from their lives. Sandy dedicates her life to finding these missing people, offering devastated families a flicker of hope. And there's a bit more to the synopsis there as well. So yeah, it sounds good. I do want to read it. It is a good few pages long, 385. It's not too bad, actually. It's just large font and a large book. So yeah, I want to get this read so that then I can unhaul it, unless I absolutely love it, and then of course I'll be keeping it. So this is my October TBR. It's going to be a lot of reading. We'll see. As I said, I don't think I'll get into all of it. There probably will be a couple at least that I don't get to, and that's fine. But exciting, an exciting reading month. Do you ever just look at a TBR and go, wow, I just want to get into it right now? So let me know, what are you hoping to read in October, and are any of these on your October TBR? Let me know. I really want to chat about these books as I read them. That would be really exciting. Or if you've read them, let me know what you think, especially the ones that are like a bit like Silver Nitrate. As I said, some people say they love it, some people not so much. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. Other than that, I will leave you there for today. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of the day wherever you are, and I will see you in the next one. Have a great reading month. Bye.